Good morning, everybody. I think we're all here, so there's no apologies for absence. Can we approve the minutes of the meeting on the 12th of November?
Agreed.
You're agreed with that. I haven't any announcements to add to the agenda. No urgent items. And can I draw members' attention to declaration of interest at item 5? And then we go on to item 6, the key decisions, the budget proposals. Cabinet obviously will be aware, and colleagues will be aware, of the financial climate affecting councils up and down the country. Local governments facing a perfect storm of austerity cuts as people want more and more from our services, and that's what we're here for, to give service to the public, but it is becoming more and more difficult. And whilst we're not in the same situation as colleagues across West Yorkshire, it is tough times for us across the district. We've got a new government, and we have hopes from the settlement that's coming in a couple of weeks. I always find it irritating that they wait till Christmas Eve before they actually tell us. And I did hope this time we would have more information quicker. But we have the settlement coming, but obviously they've inherited quite a lot of issues to deal with, terrible financial problems. So we don't expect overnight that they can resolve everything. But we need to get it across to the government, and we are doing, how important local government is to the people. It's us that people come to when they have issues. They think that we run the buses, run the health service, and as well as running all our services. And it's us that have to deal with all the frontline issues. And so we do want them to know just how important local government is. And it has to be financed properly. And we shall be fighting for that and lobbying. We have MPs in key positions in West Yorkshire, and be assured that we should be lobbying them as much as we can to get a good settlement in the future for local government. As I said, we're not immune to the pressures, and we have a projected gap of 36.8 million. Our report today sets out an initial series of budget savings, 29 million savings for the next financial year, of part of the wider proposals to save 45.5 million over the next 3 financial years. This covers income generation, maximising external funding opportunities, and a range of efficiency proposals. Members will note the full range of saving being put forward is on Appendix 1 on agenda pages 15 to 17. They include improving how the council manages our contracts, commissioning arrangements, reviewing our property and facilities management arrangements, transforming the way in some adult and social care services operate, developing more in-house provision for children and social care, reducing the use of expensive external placements. I just stop there a minute. On children's services, I don't want anyone to get the impression that we'll be making any drastic changes to how we run our children's services, and I know Margaret and Vicky wouldn't have that. But we have managed much better than other authorities because we do things in-house, and we shall continue to look at doing that. And I know that we've been asked to advise other councils by Margaret of how we do our children's services facilities. So I think I wanted to make a point of that, because of where we've come from where we were, we have to keep reiterating that about our children's services. We're going to focus more on the use of technology as part of our digital transformation. And as a result of our plan needing a reduction of staff, which is not an easy thing to do, and we are hoping that we can do that on a voluntary basis rather than compulsory redundancies. but as a responsible employee and because of good relations with our trade union colleagues, we have issued a 118 notice. It's something that myself and Jack and Cabinet didn't want to do, but we have done that. But hopefully we can make sure that people who want to leave the authority on a voluntary basis do that rather than compulsory redundancies. We need to be transparent and work with our trade union colleagues. I'm not just saying that because you're here. I would have said that anyway, but it is good that you're here representing your members. So it is a difficult situation we're in, and I ask colleagues to agree the paper. I think the proposals strike the right balance of being responsible and prioritising which matters to our local communities. So I'd ask Cabinet to agree the recommendations set out in section 2 of the report. Any questions, comments? Jack?
Thank you, Leader. Yeah, I think there are some very difficult measures within this budget. Make no mistake, we're now at 14 years of government austerity. There are no easy choices left for local authorities to make. Authorities across the country, if you said it, find themselves in this position, so it's not just a Wakefield problem. But we're fortunate in many ways that we've had prudent financial management, we've got significant reserves to draw upon, and we are doing so. We're using every penny we can to avoid making cuts where possible. But we know we can't use reserves forever. We've got to balance that baseline budget. We've made it a priority throughout the years to protect frontline services in this council, and I'm proud of that. I think all colleagues are around this table, wherever possible, we will protect frontline services. We've got a new government. There are indications that some funding pots may be coming to us, if not now, then in the not too distant future. But I want to assure residents and everyone here that on measures like green waste bins, where within the report you'll see we're considering and reviewing the service, we are considering the matter very carefully. No final decisions have been made. We're awaiting to see the full implications of the settlement from government, and we've got the full public consultation around the budget before we reach a decision on many of these measures. So hopefully, let's see some positive news coming out of government that means we don't have to make some of these extremely challenging decisions. But if not, we'll have no choice but to ensure we have a balanced budget that protects the authority and delivers the key services for local residents. So support the budget, and this one's certainly been one of the more challenging we've been involved in, I think it's fair to say.
Anyone else? Michael?
Yeah, just to totally second everything yourself and Jack have said about it. It's horrible to sit there and have to look at people because, let's face it, there's absolutely nothing left after 14 years of cuts. You think, oh, a Labour government, we're going to get loads of money now, and we haven't. There's nothing more coming in just now, and I know everyone's being optimistic and thinking, great. If we continue doing this every single year, there's going to be absolutely nothing left. There's nothing left to cut. We might as well not even be here. And I just want to make it clear to everyone, this isn't because we're making bad decisions around this table or because, you know, Labour councillors are not doing the jobs properly. We are. It's happening right across the country in every single council, these cuts. Sorry, I'm just a bit, fatigued by it all. I really hope that there's some light around the corner where we can start reinvesting back into public services and growing the offer for Wakefield.
Thanks for that, Michael. Anyone else? Okay. Yeah. It's as I say, we've all said the same. It's not an easy time. It's not a good thing to do. It's not a good budget. But this is the best we can do at the moment to move things forward. Not everything has been agreed. There is consultation, as Jack has said, and we shall be coming towards the final decision end of February. So there is time for us to get the settlement, see where we are with it, and let's hope we get a better settlement than we were perhaps expecting. So can I ask colleagues to agree the report?
Agreed.
Okay, thank you. Margaret, creation of 2 additional children's homes.
Yes, thank you, Leader. As colleagues are aware, we as a council have a statutory responsibility to provide accommodation of the right kind for our children in care. And let's not forget, these children in care often come from extremely difficult circumstances. So we need to be able to address their individual needs as we move forward. Nationally and locally, there's massive challenge revision of placements So we have to look to address some of these challenges by producing our own way of doing things. We've done this in the past by producing the bespoke two-bedded homes, all of which have proved very successful in providing better outcomes for our young people, and all have been rated either good or outstanding by Ofsted. So this is what we're looking for, to provide the kind of provision that gives our children much better outcomes at a lower cost. As you will see, as detailed on agenda page 168, the short-term care provision. Following a review of CYP's sufficiency strategy, we know that our most urgent need is to strengthen provision for children who are in need of short-term placement, while long-term placement is found. This is why we're looking at opening 2 new homes. These are to address this gap in the current provision. So we're working with colleagues at WDH to actually lease 2 3-bedroomed homes to provide places for 6 children over the course of time. These for children who need short-term, good quality care before moving on to longer-term placements. We're confident that this model will drive better outcomes for the children concerned, both emotionally and finding the right sort of care. So under the current arrangements, demand will fluctuate throughout the year, but surplus capacity can be utilised as set out in paragraph 2.3 on agenda page 168. Some minor staffing changes, as shown on page 169, are needed, but by agreeing to this proposal, we will continue our track record of improving our services for our children and their families in Wakefield at a cost-effective way. So I'm asking that members, Cabinet colleagues, approve option 1.
Yeah, thank you for that, Margaret. And that was part of what I said earlier of how we are dealing with our children's services in a much more better for the children,
Yeah.
and obviously better for our finances. Any comments, anyone? Michelle?
Yeah, just to say that I really welcome this, Margaret. I think within the service itself, you can often have children who have, for no fault of their own, had to be removed from families. You don't know where you're going to place them. Can often be a number of placement moves in a very short period, just because of the nature of not having people to take them. So to have children who are not sat in an office waiting for somewhere to go on a night, and to be able to put them somewhere that offers that stability immediately, I think is just really, and it will lead to them better outcomes. So I really support it.
Yes, thank you, Michelle.
Thanks, Michelle. Les?
I think this is an excellent proposal, Margaret. I think we've proved it, and it's testimony to Vicky, yourself, and all the department, the way that you operate and the way that you're thinking about the future. And anything that we can do ourselves has been proved to be successful. And this is just a build on what you've been doing over the past few years. So I certainly welcome it now, and I think we should be looking for this sort of things constantly in future.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I think that's what you are going to do, isn't it?
Yeah.
Vicky's nodding. Yeah. So the recommendations are set out in 2.1, 2.3. Can we agree the report?
Agreed.
Okay, thank you. Local Capital Grant Programme, Maureen, long-awaited report.
Yes. Yeah, this report is seeking approval to redistribute the unallocated underspend of capital grant from the elected members' capital grant programme. This scheme was introduced in 2016, giving each ward across the district £50,000, and that money was used for to help local groups, organisations and charities with small amounts of capital funding. The funding has been used to fund things like new play equipment, traffic calming schemes within our highways department, and a myriad of other things as well. However, the council, as we've just been discussing, are making not just revenue cuts, but are cutting back on the capital programme as well. The balance of the capital grant funding outlined in the report is £1.8 million, but over £1 million of that is committed to schemes that members have in the pipeline at the moment. And the proposal here is to redistribute the uncommitted amount of spend from that capital programme, and that would give, going forward, each ward £37,000. And what we intend to do, following the government getting its self sat down properly and maybe giving us some more money, is actually to look at it and revisit it again next September to see if we can reintroduce it. The recommendation is at 2.1 of the report, and I'm asking that the Cabinet supports it.
Any comment? Matthew?
Yeah, Maureen, thank you for this report. You've done marvellous with it. £50,000 always helped us at ward level. It's always, I always say it's not the multi-million-pound schemes that make a difference sometimes to people's life. It's the small schemes, the benches, the planting, the little highways interventions that sometimes you have to say no to local residents, where with this money you can always say yes at times. So I think it's really worthwhile to carry on doing it. I think you found a way forward for the next, plug the gap over the next 12 months. You know, if we can get back to the £50,000, but I do congratulate you, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Yeah. I think it's really great, Maureen, that you've grappled with this for some time. We've been talking about this all year, but we wanted to bring closure to it before the end of the year. So thanks very much for bringing it. I know it's not been easy getting this sorted out, but thanks very much. So the recommendations are set out on 2.1. Can we agree that?
Agreed.
Okay, thank you. And then, Maureen, you're on again. Procurement of district-wide support for victims.
Yeah, the council's domestic abuse service, as everybody knows, is something that's very close to my heart. And over the years, I've watched it grow into the service that it is now, delivering for victims across our district. But what we're seeking to do is to enhance the current service by procuring a support service that will meet the needs of victims and perpetrators. Currently, we don't have any perpetrator support other than in the voluntary sector, and we want to rationalise that. It will also help strengthen the current offer to help reduce rates and repeat rates of domestic abuse. As outlined in the report, the caseloads are sadly high, and this limits the work that we can do with those cohorts who have complex needs. Cases can remain open for long periods of time while victims are actually waiting for court dates. Let me refer you to 3.1 of the report. Nationally, domestic abuse accounts for 16% of crime, but here in Wakefield we have 10,800 domestic abuse incidents recorded over the last 12 months. We've got really high repeat rates, and we need to address that. And domestic abuse is the highest rate we have with children's services as well, and looking after those children that sadly are not only victims but are there when domestic abuse is perpetrated. So what a target operating model has been developed and proposes that the council retains the team that we currently have that provide that emergency support. But we enhance that support as outlined in 3.1 by procuring additional services. So therefore I'm asking Cabinet to approve the option at 2.1 to approve the procurement of a support service for our domestic abuse service that we currently have in the council.
Margaret?
Yeah, thank you, Maureen. Fully support this. It is a dreadful, dreadful situation for families when they're involved in domestic abuse, and we just don't know what the long-term effects could be on children involved. So I think anything we do that can help the situation, we need to support.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, we formulated the Encompass programme for kids, you know, to make the next day better for children who had been present at domestic abuse incidents, and that is across the whole of our school system in Wakefield, and we're now in nurseries as well. But it is a service that bumbles along, you know, if we can get the budgets for it. What this report seeks to do is to commission that service, but not just for the children, for perpetrators and those people that we've not been able to help in the past. So, but children the ones that are affected, and it stays with them all their lives.
Hannah?
Likewise, I really welcome this as well. I think, like Margaret's just said, it's devastating, some of the numbers that we've just seen here. I really welcome the work on education and teaching kind of children what healthy relationships are, because like you say, witnessing it, they're not just witnesses now, are they? They are actually victims of kind of domestic abuse by seeing it themselves. And I think the work as well on providing accommodation to people with different needs, including men as well. So I think the scope of it's brilliant, so I welcome it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. Thanks for that, Maureen. Can we agree the report?
Agreed.
Agreed.
Okay. Item 10 is the Highways Capital Programme. Matthew.
Thank you, Denise. Yes, I'd like to welcome the capital programme for highways. It's the first time we've done a 2-year report as well. So in this report, there's over 830 schemes. It costs around about £19 million. There's something for everybody in there, I always say. It will cover the work in the 21 wards right across the district. We'll also be a number of safety measures in there for highways as well that will be greatly welcomed across the district. So with that, I move the report and I recommend the recommendation at page 219 at option 1.
Thank you for that, Matthew. Yes.
I certainly welcome this report, Matthew, and to be honest, the way you've gone around getting all this information in, asking wards to look at what issues they had, and it's certainly pleasing to see for my ward that we did look at the road system and we did put in some recommendations, and you've taken account of those recommendations, which is very pleasing. It's a good way of going, certainly going out there and getting information back from the source, and I think it's an excellent job and it's an excellent report. Well done.
Okay. Anybody else? Can we agree that?
Agreed.
Thanks very much, Matthew. Item 11 is the Levelling Up Partnership. Michael.
Thanks, Denise. So I'm asking Cabinet today to accept money, which is always good. 9.8 million for the Levelling Up Partnership. So a little bit of background. Back in March, we were identified as a Levelling Up partner. 20 local authorities were picked to be this, and Wakefield was identified. I think the then government saw that Wakefield was a place that could most benefit from levelling up and from increased investment. And so officers from central government came to Wakefield, met with the council and met with all of the local stakeholders and groups across Wakefield. I should just make it clear it's within Wakefield City Centre that this funding was identified for, and it was said that up to 20 million could be accessed through this project, which is, you know, a lot of money. Just to make it clear as well that we weren't given 20 million as a local authority and said go and spend this however you want. So when the public asked for a lot of stuff, and we've done consultations and we know what they want to see in the city centre and beyond. This wasn't an opportunity to say, right, we know what they want, here's the money for it, let's go and do it. These were decided by somebody else. But we have ended up with a list of projects which I think will bring great benefit to the city and to the wider district. And they can be seen on agenda page 317. So I'll just quickly run through them. The old courthouse, I think people are desperate to see that brought back into use. We got it back into our ownership, and we secured the roof and made it airtight and watertight. But I've never seen that building in use since I've moved to Wakefield many years ago now. And I'd love to see it brought back, and I know everyone else would. So that's a really exciting thing to happen there. Production Park, I think we've mentioned them quite a bit in these cabinet meetings. A fantastic organisation down in the southeast, and they will be having a share of this as well to develop what they're doing down there, which will create lots of new jobs, which is always great news for everyone. The Hepworth will be receiving some of the money, and that will be for installation of a new garden workshop and an art trail enhancements and the children's playground as well. So I think the idea with the art sculpture trail that we created last year was to connect Wakefield Westgate train station through the city down to the Hepworth, so it's all pieced together. And this will help to enhance that. And I think, who doesn't love a playground to take your kids to? Everyone enjoys that, so again, good news. And I think for me, the really exciting one is we know for some time now that here in Wakefield, we have a lower level than average of people with level 4 qualifications. And we know that because we don't have a university in Wakefield, we lose a lot of younger people out of the district, go off to university, have to travel and pay lots and lots of accommodation elsewhere. And some of them don't choose to come back because that's just the way life is. You stay in the city that you went to university at. And we want to really look into what is the possible and what can we do, what do we need to establish or create or enhance about Wakefield in order to get to that next level and to help retain, keeping people in here, making sure they've got the skills for the future, etc. So this is going to be a commission being set up, and the first meeting is next Wednesday to look into higher education and skills within the Wakefield district and what we need to do to get onto that next step. Just to make it clear, we've got already some great higher education and further education establishments within the district who are, Wakefield College, for example, have got degree awarding powers through another university. So some fantastic work going on there. And that's why we need to know, can we enhance what's already there and build on it and hopefully one day have our own university? Or do we do something else? We want to really find out. So very exciting and interesting piece of work. I can't wait to get stuck in. And I'm hoping the outcomes will be fantastic for all residents. So there are, on page 315, there's a number of recommendations, which I won't read out. I know members will have read them. But I'm asking Cabinet to support option 1, which is to accept the funding, and not option 2, which is to say no thank you. It's a no-brainer. Thanks, Lisa.
Thanks very much, Michael. Jack?
Thank you, Lydia. Thank you, Michael. Very much welcome this report. And can I say, I particularly welcome as well that the new government is showing a greater degree of flexibility with allowing us to redistribute the grant internally on the different schemes. I think that was one of the issues with the previous government scheme. It was so prescriptive, so restrictive, that what we could do with the money was quite limited. But actually, this will enable us to get the projects over the line and deliver the real improvements you've just been talking about for local people. So really welcome this one, and it's nice to see it get off the ground.
Well, it certainly is. And as I say, as Jack said, the flexibility is so much, the sort of taking the brakes off a little so that we can use it for different things. It was so prescriptive before that we found it difficult to find things to fit the money. And that's been the issue, but I think now we are moving forward in a much better way. So thank you for the comprehensive report that you've just given. Hannah?
Matt, you won't be surprised to know that I welcome this. Given obviously the investment for Production Park, the Hepworth and Yorkshire Sculpture Park, like what you were saying about the Production Park, I think it's really important that we don't lose our creatives to the south. You know, we want the north to be a hotbed for creativity, and I think this really supports that and plays an important role. And obviously with the Hepworth and the Yorkshire Sculpture Park, I think our year has shown us this year the appetite that the residents have for these cultural assets that we've got, and the enhancements to that I know will be really, really welcome. So thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, can we agree the report?
Agreed.
Thanks very much. Item 12 is the Vital Signs report, performance report to Cabinet. And I'm obviously pleased to bring this here. The report covers from July to September. It's important that we manage our performance, and this report sets out how we use our resources efficiently, delivering on our priorities and provide value for money to residents and business. You'll see from the report how we set out how we manage and monitor our performance through our performance management framework. And we have made some positive progress in some areas. And I want to highlight again how very difficult and challenging times we're going through at the moment, facing significant budget pressures and increasing demand on the cost of living. So these reports are very important for us to see how we're doing and how we're measuring up against other benchmarks, etc. So I ask colleagues, is there anything you want to raise under this report, or can we agree that? Okay, thank you very much. And then Michelle, item 13, care home protocol.
Yeah, thank you, Rita. So when we initially brought the action plan following Hazelgarth to Cabinet, there was a number of things in there that we said we were doing, and this care home closure protocol is just meeting one of them. We already had a really robust independent care home closure protocol in which worked very well with our independent providers, but I think if we learn any lessons from Hazelgarth, it's that our in-house one, people were unsure where to go. So this is just formalising that so that there is a clear level of accountability, there are clear actions on what needs to happen, should we be considering this, what you need to do, the checks and balances, and who needs to be making those decisions. So it makes it clear what steps need to happen, and we know from the independent one that we've already been using, and we've been using it, you know, in the last couple of months quite successfully, that this is what needs to happen. So I'm bringing that here for us to support.
Jack.
Thank you, Leader. Yeah, very much welcome this report, Michelle. I think we all saw the terrible situation in Hazelgarth, the lessons that needed to be learned, and I think this is a vital step in ensuring that we're all crystal clear, both as members, officers, residents, families, everyone can be clear what protocols should be followed should a situation like that ever come close to occurring again, and hopefully this will prevent that. And I particularly welcome under 3.4 the co-production with residents' families. It's so important we consult with them and make sure they're happy with this as well. So thank you for bringing this report.
Yeah, it's good we've got this report, Michelle, and we did say that we would work with the families who were affected. We never want to be in this situation again. Terrible situation for the council, but moreover for the residents and the families who suffered from this. So I think put everything in place now and move forward, and on your next report you're going to give us an update on Hazelgarth. But can we agree this report?
Agree.
Okay, thank you. Next item then, Michelle.
Yeah, so the next item is for Cabinet to note the progress of the action plan on the Hazelgarth action plan. So this is the action plan that was formulated following the closure of Hazelgarth. I will just point out that on there are some actions that are obviously out of date at the moment, because when this got published in agenda items we weren't past that date, but I just want to highlight that this action plan is being delivered robustly and within those timescales. So whilst on there we are past the date, it's just not been updated because the time to get in meeting agendas out. It has been delivered alongside officers, families and staff input, and I've been very clear all along that that's what we wanted to do. So I just want Cabinet to note progress on that. I have had a lot of questions over the last few weeks about when Hazelgarth is reopening. Is Hazelgarth reopening? And I just want to offer with this action plan a cast iron commitment again that Hazelgarth will be reopening, and it will be reopening as quickly as is possible and as safely as is possible, because what we need to ensure is a quality building for residents and staff upon its opening.
Yeah, thanks for that, Michelle. And I know people are frustrated about how long it's taking, but we really need to get this right. We need this to be a home that people feel happy and secure and safe in and want to be there. And we do give a guarantee that we will be opening as soon as it is ready. And as I say, I know it's taken longer than we thought, but we are moving forward now, and we must deliver the best services we can for the people that need us most. So, okay, can we note that? Okay, thanks very much, everybody. We're going to have a strategy following on from this meeting.